Welcome to the Arrington Gavin Show. Real talk, big opinions, and fearless conversations. From the front lines of politics to the latest in pop culture. From breaking sports headlines to the stories that move the world. Nothing's off limits, and nobody's holding back. Arrington Gavin is here to break it down, build it up, and keep it all the way real. So turn it up, lean in, and let's get into it. This is the Arrington Gavin Show.
What is going on, my friends? Welcome to the Arrington Gavin Show, your go-to spot for sharp insights, bold opinions, and unfiltered takes on the biggest stories of the day, whether it's politics, sports, pop culture, or the latest buzz. Look, we're diving deep and keeping it real. So please do me a favor, kick back, stay informed, and get ready to join the conversation. On today's conversation, my friends, I'm honored to have on Miss Elizabeth Dempsey Beggs. She is the candidate for Virginia's 1st Congressional District, Democratic candidate that is, and she has been pulling in a lot of, I would say, notoriety with her race, and it's a competitive race. District 1 in Virginia currently is under Rob Whitman, Congressman Rob Whitman, Republican, and there's many folks that are hoping to unseat Mr. Whitman. Why? Well, because let's just say not doing good at his job. We'll talk a little more in the show, but I'm honored to have on Miss Beggs because, again, it's time for new voices and more passionate people that actually cares about their community. And I speak about this all the time on the show. Fam, we're in a climate now where, again, cost is extremely high. Affordability is extremely high. The list goes on and on. It is the worst. So, again, y'all, thank you so much for tuning into the Arrington Gavin Show, where conversations are real, direct, and unapologetic. And as I mentioned tonight, we're talking Virginia politics and the battle for Virginia's 1st Congressional District. Now, our guest, Miss Beggs, Army veteran, foster mom, and political newcomer, hoping to flip a district Republicans have controlled for quite some time now. At a time when voters are frustrated over, as I mentioned, economy, immigration, division in Washington, and the rising cost of living, many Americans are asking whether either party truly understands what everyday people, not just everybody, but everyday people are going through. So tonight we're keeping it fair, pressing, and straight to the point as we discuss her vision for Virginia. And so again, I'm thrilled because I've had the opportunity to have on Tim Sawinski, who's also running in the same district. And what's interesting is, look, they are good friends. They are really good friends. And I think I love seeing the unity, right? We in a climate where everything is so divisive, but you have folks that are truly here to take a leap of faith and do what's right for their constituents in their district. So again, you're going to be in for a treat here on today's show. As always, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule, tuning in to yet another great convo. As you know, we drop new episodes Monday through Fridays, weeknights at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts, whether that's iHeart, Spotify, Apple, just to name a few. You can also check us out on the radio airways if you happen to be in some of these selected cities that I'm about to mention. Shout out to our friends out in Las Vegas, KSHP 1400 AM or 107.1 FM. You can tune into the Arrington Gavin Show Fridays at 8 p.m. Pacific time. Again, that's only on KSHP 1400 AM and 107.1 FM. Then we're going to head over to the Metro Atlanta area to WDJY 99.1 FM Straight Talk. Weeknights, you can listen into the Arrington Gavin Show at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, that's only on WDJY 99.1 FM. And then lastly, we're going to head over to New Orleans to WBOK 1230 a.m. Weeknights, you can listen into the Arrington Gavin Show at 7 p.m. Central Time. We want to thank all of our friends, our affiliates. We're continuing to grow each and every day, my friends. You can also check out past episodes of the Arrington Gavin Show on the GOATverse TV app. So all you have to do is just download the app, whether you are an Android or iPhone user, Google Play Store, App Store, or Roku. Roku TV, as well as Amazon Fire TV too. So many ways you can chime into the conversation. And if you haven't done so yet, please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Share with your friends and family. We're continuing to grow our channel filled with great content and just great conversations. That's something that we are missing, I would say, in our current society, is just great conversation and, informative. We like to clown around for the most part, but at the end of the day, we hope that you learn something, and we just hope that you can have that knowledge. Because one thing I can't stand is when I'm asked about, hey, look, did you know we have a city manager? Did you know we have such and such as our mayor or council and this and that and the other? And I get it. Look, politics are not sexy, y'all. Politics are just not enjoyable, right? But at the end of the day, it's important. I know politics is not fun, but politics is a part of our everyday life, y'all. If you're taxpayers, even just, going in the grocery stores, as I mentioned, cost of living. I was at the gas station, y'all. Let me tell you something real quick before I bring on before we hit to a commercial break. I was at the gas station, right? And it was $5.20, I think $5.29 for premium, right? I had like 70 miles until E. I paid $64, y'all. $64. And I'm not gonna lie, I damn near cried. I'm like, wow, this is insane. And I know I'm fortunate that, hey, I work, I can afford it, but not everybody is in that same position. So we're talking about gas prices, we're talking about grocery prices, and living in general. Like, cost of living is sky high. Like, I think I spoke to a buddy of mine not too long ago. I'm like, when he said affordability, housing affordability, I'm like, does that even exist anymore? The way these prices are, it's like, is there housing affordability? So it's a lot happening, and we got a lot of issues happening in Washington, but we have big midterms going on. As you know, I'm in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Virginia just had we're still continuing to have this redistricting battle, and it's same thing going across all the different states, Tennessee, Louisiana, Missouri, Texas, you name it. But Virginia Virginia Supreme Court struck down the redistricting referendum that was voted on by the people, by the way. April 21st, if I'm not mistaken, over 3 million people voted in favor for the redistricting. So we currently have a 6-5 map, and they wanted I believe a 10-1. And so all this is going down. It was already, what's the word I'm looking for? It was looked prior to a Supreme Court, right? And so they were like, okay, keep it moving. This could have been done beforehand, but they're going to wait until voters chose, and now they're taking it back. So it doesn't fully hurt the Democrats in Virginia. Obviously it's going to be a very, very competitive race, because as we know, with this whole redistricting, it's about answering to what we see in Washington. We got a president right now who's hitting up all these states. I need 5 more seats here. All right, I need 5 more this, 5 more that. And he is scared because he's losing power, right? And so he's hitting up these red states saying, hey, look, I need 5 more states. 5 more seats. You saw what was it? Not Louisiana, Tennessee, changing it from an 8-1 to a 9-0. Y'all, it's intense. So enough with my ranting. We have a special guest that we're going to be bringing on after these commercial breaks. Thank you for sticking with us. Thank you for taking the time to tune into the Arrington Gavin Show. Do not change that dial. We'll be right back after these commercial breaks.
Every man has a story to tell. Your ambitions, your achievements, your legacy. Your suit should reflect that story, crafted precisely, designed for impact, and tailored exclusively for you. We work with only the finest fabrics, luxurious wools, silk, linen, and blends from world-renowned mills in Italy, the UK, and India. These fabrics are the foundation of custom suits that exude elegance and stand the test of time. But a suit isn't just about fabric, it's about fit, and it's about confidence, and it all starts with you. When you work with me, you'll receive a personalized consultation, whether in person or over Zoom. Together, we'll explore your vision and discuss your needs. And we're going to bring your ideas to life. My journey as a designer includes apprenticing under New York-based designer Clavon Leonard, showcasing collections at New York Fashion Week, Algeria Fashion Week, and the prestigious Baltimore Met Gala. That experience is what we bring to every suit we create, from weddings to corporate events and everything in between. We specialize in crafting one-of-a-kind suits for life's most significant moments. Dapper Luke has been recognized as one of Baltimore's best menswear in 2023, and I was honored to be one of the 10 designers selected for the prestigious Baltimore Met Gala. With over 900 satisfied clients, we proudly serve Virginia Beach and Baltimore. bringing world-class designs to these incredible communities. We don't just make suits, we craft confidence. Your suit will fit your body, your style, and it will tell your story. Book your free online personal consultation today. Visit www.dapperluke.com.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to
And we still in traffic.
Don't look familiar, do I? Not in this seat.
Hey, what's that you listening to?
Here to host today.
Hey, turn it up. Yeah, this that new Goat Verse app. I got you.
So y'all want to know where the goats are? They're off on the sidelines.
Looking for fresh, relevant content wherever you go?
What was the name of the app he said?
Introducing GoatVerse TV.
GoatVerse, that's what it's called.
The free streaming app that brings you the best podcasts, current events, and thought-provoking opinions all in one place. Download it now from the Apple Store or Play Store. In Goats, we trust.
Become a man of distinction with Rugged Evolution Beard Care. Order our scented beard oils and beard balms to help you maintain and grow the perfect beard. Order today. Try our men's care products like the full body exfoliating cleansing bars, body wash, smooth stash, and more. Log on to our website or download our app to place your orders. Rugged Evolution Beard Care. We're your luxury but affordable men's care line. And remember,
Rugged is the new smooth.
All right, family, welcome back. As I mentioned earlier, we're honored to have on Miss Elizabeth Dempsey on the show, Dempsey Beggs, who is a Democratic candidate running for Virginia's 1st Congressional District. So without further ado, let me go ahead and bring on our guest for the hour. Elizabeth, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am doing great. Thank you so much for taking the time out your busy schedule. I know this is one of the busiest periods of your life right now. And again, I appreciate you taking the time to come here for a conversation and for just our listeners to know more about you and your campaign. If you don't mind, since this is your first time, if you don't mind sharing a brief background about yourself and kind of what led to you to make this bid.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Elizabeth Dempsey Beggs. I am a firefighter's wife, an Army veteran, a business leader, a community leader, and a foster parent. So that all is kind of at the heart of why I entered this race. I didn't grow up dreaming of running for Congress, running for office at all. And I definitely didn't think it would be when I have 4 kids under 5 at home. I was 28 years old when I entered this race. I'm
Wow.
29 now, to flip a seat under what has now become one of the most unique and challenging races.
Mm-hmm.
Not only are we now back to flipping a seat and it's a crowded primary and, we don't take corporate money. That's like a key tenet of my campaign. So every day we're just like, hey, are we going to fundraise to make payroll and to run our ads, all that. So I didn't grow up dreaming of that at all. Definitely not doing it this way. But I have dedicated my life to service. And to me, running for this office is an extension of that service. Every day I'm in the district. This is my home. This is where I chose to raise my kids. This is where my husband's a firefighter, where my father's retiring. And I fall more in love with it. Every day I'm here. But I see how much people are hurting. And it's not left versus right. It is, we are being exploited by the billionaires, by corporations. And we mostly have politicians who have sold out. And this isn't the world I am okay raising my kids in. A world that's full of hatred and division, where they don't have a fair shot. It's not the world anyone wants to be in. I served my country. I raised my right hand, went overseas for this country. I love it so much, and I'm going to continue to fight for it.
And, I couldn't agree more with you on that. As we're seeing a period, and shout out to your husband, who's a firefighter. So my father is a retired firefighter, and he teaches at a vocational school for firefighters and paramedics out in Norfolk, Virginia. So definitely a shout out to him and your, and for you, for your service as well. We are in a period where it's like folks are hurting, right? And coming, as you mentioned, you have a service heart. It is tough seeing, your neighbors, your friends, your peers in this tough situation. And I've, mentioned a lot on this program how we have a lot of, a number of elected officials that they're in it for a personal agenda, right? They forget about their constituents, and then the only time you hear from them is when it's time for re-election, right? Yep. We have a lot of career politicians that has made well over in the millions, which is insane, by the way. And I know that's it's interesting because 29 years old. I just running for Congress is just but I'm excited at the same time because I love seeing young people taking that leap of faith because it is a gamble pursuing this. Now, as a veteran, a foster mom, and an advocate, out of all those roles, which one shaped you the most as far as your political worldview, and why?
I always say I was radicalized by Jesus, the military, and motherhood, and probably in that order.
Okay.
I grew up in a very small conservative area. Both my parents would tell you that they are still Republicans. My dad would say, he's a Republican that hates Trump, which is totally okay to be for anyone listening. You can consider yourself a Republican and call out the leadership in your party.
Very true. Very much
I will
so.
call out
Absolutely.
the Democratic Party. We absolutely should. My mom is kind of in and out of my life, but a 3-time Trump voter. I actually interned for the Republican Party. That's the world I grew up in. So a lot of people who've known me for a long time will say, what changed, radicalized you? And I'm like, well, serving in the military, it was people first, army always. And the idea that we put people first. And after I left the military, I'm pursuing an MBA right now, but I was a director and I was at a Fortune 500 and I opened a division for a company here in Richmond, Virginia. Quickly saw how corroded greed and the pressure of a bad economy made leadership who to cling to more and more wealth, who weren't willing to take a semblance of a pay cut themselves, anything like that, but were willing to exploit people and our customers very quickly. And I was driving to work one Wednesday and I was like, I can't. I turned around and went home, and I was making way more in that role than I ever will in the House of Representatives. And then getting into this, I've always been decently politically involved. In the military, I was confined by the Hatch Act and everything. But seeing how policy is shaped by people who don't live in that policy. We actually, policy that comes from the people up does not get passed. Policy that's proposed by corporations gets passed at a much, much higher rate. I mean, just a rate you can't even imagine, much higher. It's the ones that benefit, and you can say, well, corporations create jobs. Yes, they can do that while not having this huge gap. When we talk about affordability right now, and there's so many things we can talk about, but when affordability is crushing people, in the intro, I heard you say, you damn near cried at the gas station. I did cry last night with groceries and gas, and looking at, we were in a very comfortable place 6 months ago. Our family motto is, when you have more than you need, you build a longer table, not a higher fence. And to us, that looked like becoming foster parents. That was something we were very comfortably able to do last year. And now, same income, same everything. We can't make our bills. And it's no longer, and some people, it's okay, I'm not going to take a trip to Disney this year, or maybe stay at the beach a little less. But the world I live in, I understand when that happens, that means kids are being removed from homes because you're figuring out what bills you're going to pay. 76% of Americans are putting groceries on a credit card right now. Not for points, not to save up to take some vacation, because they don't have another choice. Prices are rising so quickly. I mean, we're in a worse economic position than we were in the Great Depression, and wages aren't keeping up. The last time we raised the federal minimum wage in 2009, that would be $26 an hour today. And so many people are going to say, we can't pay people a minimum wage of $26 an hour. Everything would close. No, they wouldn't. We can get into all the economics on that. I am a nerd.
Yeah, and I didn't mean to cut you off. It always kills me when they bring up that argument, because I'm like, okay, when we say we're the wealthiest country in the world, we literally mean we're the how many billionaires do we have? And look, I'm on the side of, I'm not saying, we shouldn't have billionaires that exist, but what I'm saying is we have over 10 billionaires with more than just $1 billion in their name. So to say that, oh my gosh, how much? Are you kidding me? Just give me a break here.
I'll say, I don't think billionaires should exist. The only way that we can actually have true wealth and to have millionaires is that we don't have billionaires exist. But when we say things like, we need to tax the rich, right? We can talk about the first district where I'm running. We have to communicate that the correct way. The Democratic Party is terrible at our messaging. Because you're someplace like New York City and we can say tax the rich, and like we see how that's working. You look at everyone here is Democratic Socialists and they panic, where like Democratic Socialists and New Deal are very much like the same thing.
Yeah.
But they panic at this like S word, right? Whatever. It actually is showing results. You know, people didn't flee New York City. They paid their taxes.
Yep.
And services provided. And we did what the government is supposed to do. But when we say tax the rich, especially in areas like the 1st District, where we're very suburban, we're very rural, we have to understand, like we have to make people understand, we are not talking about your friend who's an attorney who makes $200,000 a year. We're not talking about your parents who have $2 million in the bank to retire, or someone that bought their house in the 90s and it's now worth over $1 million. That's not what we're talking about. We're saying that corporations and the ultra wealthy have to pay their fair share. What we're saying when we say tax the rich, it's wealth needs to be taxed at the same rate that work is. So right now, if you have a W-2, you're getting screwed over on taxes. Absolutely. So we have to be very, very clear that when we say tax the rich.
Why do you think the Democratic Party struggles? Because I mean, I look at both parties personally that struggles with messaging. It's just a matter on like, you know, talking points in a sense. But like, why do you think the party struggles with the Democratic Party that is struggles with messaging? Is it like the lack of relatability amongst its voters, or is it just like I'm just curious.
It's two-part. One is yes, lack of relatability, any of that. It's pandering really to a donor class and to corporations, because let's be real, like there is so much money in this.
A lot.
I mean, I don't think people can like grasp how much really is in it. But so yeah, it does take money to run a race, no matter how hard you work, how much grassroots social media support it does. Like it does take money to do this. There's a lot of barriers of entry. But when we talk about relatability, there is a shift in the Democratic Party to target suburban voters and just leave behind rural voters, leave behind the working class. Well, now your suburban voters are very much working class. That's not a slander. I think people hear the working class word like, no, we need our working class. We need a strong, healthy, working and middle class. That's not a bad thing. If you rely on a W-2 to pay your bills, and if you didn't have a W-2 for even 6 months and you couldn't make your mortgage, you're working class. It's not a bad title to hold. But we did. We kind of just walked away from that. We're like, oh, you know, these things are all so nuanced and take so much discussion and elite academia. And here's the thing. Yeah, we're going to fix the economy. We should probably talk to economists, right? These are very nuanced, in-depth things. When people are like, oh, what's your stance on this? Like, okay, well, we can actually get into like really deep policy discussion. Yeah. We absolutely should have the ability to do that. But we have to be able to listen, because we can't communicate if we don't listen. That's also something that not just the Democratic Party, but every politician has gotten so bad at doing. Rob Whitman hasn't had a town hall in over 9 years. Occasionally have these round tables, right? But they're very select individuals. They're closed off. The online ones, they screen questions. You can get on there.
You find out about it like 5 minutes before it actually starts, kind of thing.
And we can't expect voters to go to us. We have to be where they are.
What kills me, and what my word of the year is transparency. And there is no transparency whatsoever when it comes to some of the elected officials out here.
No.
And it kills me because, and you hit on it to an extent. I just want to add to your point. I get tired of always hearing the headline: affordability, healthcare, safety. Can you please explain it? At least for me, because I'm not the smartest guy in the bunch. I'm like, talk to me and speak in layman's terms, like bring it down a notch. What does that mean verbatim? Speak policy. Don't just give me the title, because everybody can say, hey, look, I'm gonna do this for you. I'm gonna do that for you. And I'm like, okay, explain it, please do.
Because we're tired of being lied to. We're tired of things not getting done. And there's so many consultants that will charge politicians, are people like me who I wouldn't consider myself a politician. I'm just one that wants to continue to serve in this way. And they will charge you a ton of money to tell you, like, nobody cares about facts. No one cares what your plan is. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if I'm sorry if I can't say
it's all good. It's all right.
Okay.
It's fine.
But it is.
Guys, I just want to let you know it's been great knowing you on the air. But no, I'm joking. Just remember the name Elizabeth Dempsey Beggs. It was her fault. No, I'm joking.
I'll take ownership for it, right? Come yell at me about it. I messed up. And here's the thing, but we actually have to show a plan, and we have to be realistic in what that plan is. Mm-hmm. I always say slogans don't save lives. And we're not being dramatic when we say that. No, people are dying. People cannot afford food. They're having heat, AC, all that turned off. This isn't about not being able to go to Disney World, like we said earlier. This is genuinely, people are terrified. They can't get healthcare. They are one emergency away from ruin, true financial ruin that will take generations to get out of. This isn't a joke. We can't just be about, I want this title. I want to progress my career. No, you have to show up and do the hard work. And it's going to be a lot of hard work, and you better have a plan, and you better have the humility to say, I don't know. I need to talk to someone smarter than me in this area, because there are people who've dedicated their lives to very specific policy. And guess what? I'm talking to them every single day because I can't know everything about everything, but I am going to rely on a team to advise me. And I am going to listen to what's actually happening in my district. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I was gonna ask, and this is in no disrespect, but if for someone that asks, okay, what makes you a qualified candidate for this? Because this is your first position that
people should ask.
Yes,
100%.
This is your first, and I want to ask because again, age is always going to be a factor. I've been kind of accused of being ageist on the show because I'm sorry, I kind of get tired of seeing a lot of old folks in office that are hitting, knocking on 90, and they want to run for re-election. They're putting in their papers now saying, it's not just wait your turn, or you're not ready yet. You got to put some more work. And I'm just like, okay, so you're being assisted to get on this podium, but that's a whole nother story. But what makes you qualified to serve in Congress? And even like, why Congress? Why skip over on the local route? I'm gonna say just to get your feet wet, right? Why not, any, local, possibly even state, state position?
No, this is a very important question. I thank you for asking it, because everyone should be able to answer this, regardless on what office they're running for. So, and two things can be true, right? We can say, hey, you're pushing 90. You shouldn't be running for this office. But nothing pisses me off more than hearing you need to wait your turn. It's not your turn yet. Really, because it's my turn to struggle to pay the mortgage. Yeah. It's my turn to not know if my kids are going to be safe going to school because we refuse to do anything about that. So no, it is my turn because I'm living in it. But when it comes to qualifications, especially for this seat, and why I chose to run for this seat, because like I told you earlier, my plan wasn't to run for office. And it definitely wasn't.
You said you waited after what, four kids, 29? I'm like, okay, I think it's time.
Well, I'm a foster parent, so I didn't.
But still, that still is a big position. I just want to,
And it's a duty I had, right? I view this as it is a duty to do what I have to do. Right now, it's going to take a lot of work to flip the first district. And we have to fight to flip it, like the future of our country depends on it, because it does. And I would 100% drop out of this primary if I felt there was another very valid candidate who could actually flip the seat from Rob Whitman. Right now, there's not. And that's no shade to anybody else running, because there are incredible people who become really good friends of mine running, who are very qualified, and I look forward to continue to work with them. But I understand how to flip suburban areas and rural areas. I've spent so much time. This is my home. Like I said, I worked for the Republican Party. I speak this language. I have a seat at the table where other people don't. And I have, at this point, hundreds of people who door knock and volunteer in my campaign who did vote for Donald Trump. And it's not because I have these moderate policies. It's not any of that. It's because I'm transparent, I'm accountable, and I'm okay saying what needs to be said. And I'm okay doing the hard work that it's going to take. We can't let this race, because it's not going to be someone who's been in Democratic politics their whole life who's going to be able to flip this seat. It's not. And here's the thing. I don't know everything. I know I don't know everything. And I'm going to have advisors. I already have advisors who are policy experts. We don't expect the president to know everything. They're not, right? But I've worked in lobbying. I've worked on bills. I've done that. So on that side of it, yes, I am qualified there. I'm a very fast learner on everything else. But I also know what type of leadership we need in Washington right now. And I would say it would be very irresponsible for somebody to run for federal office, especially in this time of division, if they have not had tested leadership. And there's a difference going up and speaking in front of a group where you're wanted, right? Going to a Democratic committee, even speaking to thousands of people that are expecting you to speak, might disagree with you a little bit, but you're going to get like the rah, rah, rah rally, right? No, we need to actually get shit done. And getting stuff done is going to take being able to execute it and knowing what it means to lead under opposition. Mm-hmm. When I became a tank commander in the military, I was one of the first 50 women to do so. So there was a ban on women serving in combat arms across the military. When I entered, by the time I commissioned, armor and infantry were available. You could, compete to get one of those slots. I said, I'd like to do that. Armor is the combat arms of decision. So you have to be able to make very bold, decisive decisions in an ever-changing environment that will cost somebody their life, and be very comfortable doing that very quickly. That's what my job was. But when I got to Fort Riley, Kansas, I need you to picture a 22-year-old version of myself, newly turned 22, lowest rank an officer can hold, 300 men who have never served with women. I'm like, hey guys, what's up? I'm in charge now. And didn't go quite like that. But you can imagine how well received I was.
Yeah.
The reality was, at best, these men were skeptical. And at worst, which the majority of them were, they did not want me there. And the people above me did not want me there. How do you lead under those conditions? Because that's what it's going to take to flip a district, and that's what it's going to take to get anything done in Washington. And that is the experience I've had, and that's the experience that I've had my whole career. And we can talk about the economy, the MBA side. I understand. I have the lived experience of knowing how unaffordable childcare is, of knowing that firefighters don't make a living salary, knowing that social workers don't make a living wage, because these are the worlds that I live in, while also understanding what it takes to run a division of Fortune 500 level, and needing to be able to combine those two worlds and to actually make policy that is realistic, that can be executed, and that helps people. Because slogans don't save lives. You can go in and you can say, we need universal health care. Day one, I'm going to provide that. No, you're not. You're lying to people for their vote. How are you actually going to help them right away? So that's a very valid question to ask. I am young to run for office. I'll be the youngest mom to ever serve. Right now, less than 7% of Congress has children under 18. And I think our policy very much reflects that. Not just that it doesn't support families, because not everyone has kids. Not everyone wants to have kids. Yeah. But I think it's reflective that people making our policy do not actually understand the reality of what life is like for most Americans.
I agree. You mentioned AIPAC earlier I believe somewhere in the introduction, you talked about how really Congress is bought out. Like there's individuals that they're individuals for sure. There are individuals that mean well and that are doing great things in their community. But I mean, AIPAC, we're seeing every time, at least on on social media and the news. Hey, look, this person received AIPAC money. Now, you've publicly rejected donations from AIPAC. Explain the decisions to voters who may see that as controversial.
Well, I don't think it's controversial because I don't take donations from any PAC, from any corporation. I don't take money from the Democratic Party. I don't take, my average donation is $17 because my job is to work for people. I am beholden to the people in my district, not just the people who voted for me, not just the people who volunteer in the campaign, not just people who donated to me. There's never a time I will ever be put in a position where my integrity has to be compromised. And you can say, okay, well, you take the dark money and then you get in and you just don't take the phone call or you don't do the favor. We know humans are naturally greedy.
Yeah.
And I do plan to legislate with a lot of other people to bring accountability back. So they can't be bought out, right? We have to have campaign finance reform. There's multiple ways to go about it. I could give you a dissertation on how we can do that with the Supreme Court the way it is right now and the decisions that have been made there. As well as to ban congressional stock trading. So you can't be like Rob Whitman and trade stock in the defense sector while sitting, the chairman of our defense, he sits on that committee. He's the chairman of the Armed Services Committee. And you're trading stock in the defense sector. He has never worn the uniform. He doesn't know what it's like to have your child go overseas, to have your spouse go overseas, your parent not know if they're coming back or not. But he has made millions in the past year. If we can't trust people to be ethical to do it, then we need to legislate it.
Yeah, I look at it as very on brand for their party because, when you have an administration in Washington that, look, the president's family, and I mean, hey, look, it's not my opinion, it's actual facts. Y'all can look it up yourself. Has brought in not millions, but billions coming to them, which is insane because once again, we go back to the word
dollars
of taxpayers' dollars. You're absolutely right.
Let's be clear, they're not making smart trades or smart investments, and they're such intelligent business people. I mean, in the case of Donald Trump, he literally had the Justice Department pay him out a settlement that was all taxpayer dollars. But even when we're trading stock in defense sector or the energy sector, any of that, right? That is taxpayer dollars because they are handing contracts to Boeing, to Raytheon, to all these places. And like when I was a tank company commander, then this came up in a briefing literally 2 weeks ago in a hearing. One of the senators asked, it's like, we should be able to have crewmen replace a $15 knob on a helicopter instead of letting whatever company holds the contract charge us $45,000. I saw that every day when I was a tank company commander. That's taxpayer dollars that are then, they're handing out those contracts. They're approving them. People like Rob Whitman are approving them and making these backdoor deals where they are getting personally wealthy themselves. And then you get into the campaign finance of it and everything. And it's insane. You can't say that. And, we can say, okay, it's true of the party. I'm not going to say it's the whole party. There are Republicans who don't do it. And there are Democrats,
and that's why I say, and I've always said, y'all, it's a number of people. Because again, me right in the middle, I have friends on all sides of the aisle, right?
We said this before we recorded. Everyone should be an independent.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You should have in a two-party system. There are great
I'm not a
things
fan
that
of it at
Governor
all.
Spanberger there are great things that Governor Spanberger has accomplished. Like, you want something done, ask mom. Vetoing the collective bargaining bill, that's not okay. And we have to be able to say that. We have to be able to say, I don't agree with this. There should be so much fighting within a party. And someone running who's had their whole campaign funded by corporations, and even if they don't take corporate money, but you get maxed out donations from the CEO of a corporation. Okay. That's a very, very thin line, but okay.
Very thin.
But you can't have someone who's had Dominion Power fund their entire campaign tell you that they're going to make life more affordable for you. That's a lie.
Going back to the relatability, it's like, make it make sense. Make it make sense. That does not at all.
It doesn't. Okay, and you can't claim, okay, well, I'm going to take it so I can win the election and then do this when you're not even planning to hold anybody accountable. There are ways to do this better and to have people who actually represent you and who are willing to do the hard work. And look, if you want to get wealthy, great, good. Don't do it at the expense of your constituents. Retire, write a book, go consult. You have so many options besides just keeping the title. And
we have a lot of authors out here. I'm kind of getting a little tired of like the whole post. When I retire from politics, I'm gonna write a book and tell all.
Like,
oh my gosh! I'm like,
at least make it like entertaining if it's gonna be a tell-all, right? Like, give us some drama. That's why TMZ is up in Washington now, right? Like,
oh my god,
give us some drama.
You know what? It's funny because I'm guilty. I was literally looking at I was on TMZ on social media earlier today because they were talking with Maxine Waters. That's another story again, who's running for re-election. Again, going back to the age, but look back to Elizabeth. Okay, back to you. I want to talk about the economy. So you often speak about working families being overlooked. Now, what specific policy would you support to help families struggling, as we mentioned, with housing, groceries, childcare costs, things in that nature?
Yeah, so I'm not going to go into the whole reform because the reality is everything is a Band-Aid until we have the reform. But I like to use the analogy that, if you're driving to work tomorrow and you were hit by a car, your leg's injured, you're bleeding out, you need surgery to save your leg. When EMS arrives, they should put the tourniquet on to get you to surgery, to then see a surgeon, go to physical therapy, and come back stronger than before. And that's what our policy has to look like in everything. So in answering that, we have to have the reform. We have to have the surgery and the PT. That doesn't mean we deny anybody the tourniquet. And that's when we talk about universal health care. Cool. That's not going to happen in a month, in 2 months, right? We're not going to take back the house and be able to have universal health care in February. Of course, we support it. And there's plans to get there, but we also have to have the plans, the policy that you just asked, that will actually help people immediately. So number one, prescription drug cost, like a cap on prescription drugs. And that's not per prescription. That is per how much your household pays.
Gotcha.
My proposal is a $350 cap. That is the max insurance is allowed to charge a household, no matter how many prescriptions you're on, no matter what they are. Because you can say, okay, well, there's a cap, but if someone, you're battling cancer, or you have 3 children who are all going through something, that cap can still add up really quickly.
Yeah.
And then when we look at our tax code, so right now your cost of childcare expenses, you get a very, very small credit. That doesn't even touch the actual cost of childcare. So if you have childcare cost for a child under the age of 6, 100% of that is a write-off expense. We look at corporate policy, a CEO gets to write off a private jet because it's a necessary business expense. Great. Your cost of childcare is a necessary expense for you to go to work. You then pay federal income taxes on that. So we need to have a lot more write-offs for working families.
So
that's one.
You answered the part. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, I could talk to you for 3 hours about
and it's good. It's good because I'm a long-winded person. I love conversation. I wish I could do this show for 3
hours. But you need real answers. And that's why these conversations are longer. Yeah. Because, okay, that's one thing. That's 2, right? We mentioned 2 things. They might seem small, but those are wins that we can actually get as we're having this major reform. I do support full tax code reform. Again, that would take me 3 hours to walk you through like a full tax code reform plan. It's something that I've worked with a lot of other candidates and sitting representatives on. So that's another thing. You asked what makes me qualified to be in the seat.
Yeah.
I'm one person. I think we have to understand how much power someone in Congress holds. If their party doesn't have the majority, it's not a lot. And you have to be, as an elected official, still doing the work for your constituents. And sometimes that does look like these small wins. And it also looks like making sure that you have a coalition. And I've begun building that coalition before getting into office. Because the work doesn't start the day I get sworn in. The work started months ago. So it's things that we actually, bills I can sponsor and co-sponsor that I've already been working on that we can actually implement very quickly. And then a big one, raising the federal minimum wage. We have to do that.
You know what? I feel like she's been looking at my notes, y'all, because she's answering. Literally, my next question was going to be in regards to supporting the federal minimum wage nationally. Since you brought it up, is there an amount that you would say, okay, this is the amount that is the fair
$26 an hour.
$26 an hour.
$26 an hour. And I will say my caveat to this. So that is what would match the last time we raised the federal minimum wage in 2009. My caveat, though, because I know everyone's going to say, what about small businesses? I can't afford that. Yeah, that's going to hurt small businesses right away. I completely understand that. So I do propose that there is essentially grants for implementing this. So year 1, 50% of that increase is on the small business, 50% is a grant through the government. Year 2, 75% is on the small business, 25%. To then we work up to the 3-year mark where that small business has had time to adapt, why their employees had time. But that small business will also see higher revenue because people will have money. Corporations like Walmart, any of those, they will not be affected. Anyone that says, well, they'll just close down, they'll stop hiring, they'll have less employees. We know that's not true. You look at behavioral economics, it's not true. Walmart operates in 19 countries. In 18 of those, it pays a livable wage to its employees. They would not operate there if it was not profitable. But here in the US, we allow them to exploit our workforce. And they are the true welfare queens.
Whew. I told y'all it was going to be a great conversation, y'all. Thank you for those that are still with us. Your guy, Arrington Gavin. Joining me is Miss Elizabeth Dempsey Beggs. She is the congressional candidate running for Virginia's 1st congressional district. Elizabeth, I want to ask you this. Being a veteran, and here in Virginia, and I'm coming from the Hampton Road side, so we're near so many military bases, but really Virginia alone, it's the home of so many government, federal workers, and vets as well. Many military families in Virginia still struggle financially despite serving their country. What more should Congress be doing for them?
So number one, we have to look at VA healthcare. That's a huge reason why a lot of veterans are suffering. We have gutted the VA, especially in Virginia. Of all the states, we were one of the hardest hit in getting the VA, both off of how many veterans we have and how many jobs that we've lost. You combine those two things together, that's a huge one. We also need to make education more accessible. We can expand our GI benefits. That's something that has, while it's not been cut, it has been so restricted and made confusing, and people lose benefits because they don't have the knowledge that they need on that. And small business loans for veterans is a huge one. The reality is we know most veterans, when they leave the military, don't do great in a 9-to-5 right away because it's not what they've been used to for so long. But veterans do really, really well in entrepreneurship. And traditionally, that's something that the GI Bill hasn't been very supportive of. It's more been, you get like a very traditional degree, go in and do this. So we need to continue expansion when it comes to trades, and we need to continue expansion when it comes to small business loans for veterans wanting to start a small business, as well as partnering that GI Bill with universities, especially like MBA specific programs on training people who want to start a small business, but maybe they don't know like all the ins and outs, right? Like they have a really good idea, they have the work ethic, they have the formula, but they might not know anybody who started their own business. So using Part GI benefits with top MBA programs, I mean, especially here in Virginia, we have some of the top MBA programs in the world. Having this, really robust leadership program, very immersive, 6 weeks, and they like help you write your business plan for the bank. This is something a lot of communities, especially I saw it in Columbus, Georgia, we're really good at doing. But we also have to have people better prepared when they leave the military. So we don't pay our service members fair at all. There's no reason anybody in uniform should be getting SNAP benefits. I don't care how many dependents you have. I don't care any of that, what choices you've made. You are serving your country. You don't know what time you're getting off work. You aren't having traditional childcare hours, any of that. So we just have these restraints on our families so much that kind of keeps them indebted to stay in the service. They feel like they don't have the option to leave. And then when it comes to spouses, this is something I worked on with Dr. Biden and then with the First Lady of Maryland before I entered this race, was we cripple spouses so much. And we like to give these benefits, right? And these are things that then make military life and when you're leaving unaffordable, because you can say, okay, well, you got out of the military, like your spouse and your family can now have a career in that. All right, well, if you haven't been in your field for 10 years, even if you've been working, but not in your field, it's really hard to get back in there.
Yeah.
Really hard in a time when unemployment is sky high. But again, we give corporations benefits for hiring veterans, but we don't really vet them on it. They get to say like, oh, I hired this veteran, but we don't check our spouse. We don't check, okay, did you hire them at a minimum wage entry level position and let them go 6 months later? So to me, I'm like, if corporations want these benefits, which they absolutely should get, right? They should get tax breaks for recognizing somebody's service. But they have to show, okay, this is how they've promoted. So you get a small tax break at first, right? But then you've actually invested into their future, into them doing well to get the full benefit that's being offered. Kind of a carrot stick. I mean, I could talk about this forever though. There's so many benefits we can do. Virginia is a very, very veteran friendly state. And I'd like to see a lot of those expanded nationally. That's something my job as a legislator, not in the Virginia House, but in the House, would be modeling, being able to extend these benefits nationally. The VA loan, great benefit. It's the only reason I've been able to buy a house, and my husband and I both have that benefit. I want to see that expanded. I have a policy I've been working on before running for office. We'll continue to push it if I don't get in the seat, but it expands VA benefits to social workers, firefighters, teachers, nurses, and police officers.
Oh man, that is one. And I react like that because I have a lot of friends that are teachers, and it's just little things. Like there's absolutely like no teacher discounts that if you simply go to the movies, if you go somewhere, I'm like, wow, you don't get it. Is there a teacher? No, it's not. And I just feel like it's unfair because it's an important role that they play. I mean, not play. There's an important role that they do on a regular, and
we can't retain them.
And you can't retain them. And then
what we have demanded of teachers for not paying a livable wage at all. Because there's a time it's like, okay, well, it's not like you never get into it to make like a lot of money. It's not going to be the highest paying thing, but you don't work summers and it's very child friendly schedule and all this. That's such a lie. eroded how much is being demanded left and right in their safety, and we refuse to do anything about it. I don't know a single person I graduated with who taught who has stayed in teaching.
Oh, look, that me and you both, because it is and you have to look at it like this too. One individual is teaching. I'm gonna just say, and I'm going based on because I went to private school, so our class sizes were a little smaller than certain public school sizes.
I didn't, and my kids don't go to private school. I mean, I can tell you, it's insane.
It's
just an insane ratio.
It's a lot of what teachers have to deal with when it comes to just dealing.
And then
with
we blame parents, and yes, there's some parent responsibility on that. But what we put on parents right now. We say, oh, we should raise 90 kids. Then, okay, we should let parents work like it was the 90s. You left work at 5 and you didn't have Slack emails and Slack messages pinging your phone and your Outlook blowing up nonstop and then logging back on at 9:30. And you're just so fearful that if you don't go above and beyond that you will lose your job and lose everything. And then we expected them to just parent during COVID, work from home, parent during COVID, all these expectations that we put. I mean, people are drowning. And even when we talk about being politically involved, it is a privilege. Yeah. Be the first to tell you, yes, everything is political. Every single thing in your life is political, especially right now. And you know what? The government owes you stability. It's not handouts. It's not just making people work hard, any of that. It is having a safety net that allows entrepreneurship, that allows families to have a family unit to grow and to actually pursue the American dream. That is something the government owes you. They don't owe corporations that. If a corporation can't survive without government handouts, then okay, they probably shouldn't survive because we don't live in capitalism right now. We don't. We live in end-stage capitalism, which is essentially everything's a monopoly. Mm-hmm. You can't dream up an idea and want to open a general store where you live because Walmart will just destroy you immediately.
And who's noticing that? Not just folks on the left, but folks on the right. I think that, and I'm glad earlier, you had mentioned, look, and I say it all the time. You have you have great Republicans, you have great Democrats. There's it's good. It's good people on the sides of the aisle. But at the end of the day, what America,
and there's bad people on both sides too.
And there's bad people. Absolutely.
Call himself a Democrat. 100%.
Absolutely. I'm thinking of a few names myself, but I won't say it right now.
Not even elected officials, just, some of our friends that they might be on the left or any of that, but there's still misogyny and there's still racism in that, it's not a free pass. Just act however you want.
I was gonna, I had one question, but I'm looking at my time here. I want to ask you this, after talking with you, obviously I see that you have a grassroots and community driven campaign, right? Mm-hmm. Why do you believe grassroots politics matters more than ever just now compared to how it was before?
Because if we want things to be different, we have to do them differently. Like I said, no one is coming to save us. People are mad and they should be. And it's not just on the left and it's not just on the right. They should be mad everywhere. When you actually look into this, you should be raging. But we have to take that anger and we have to change it into action. We have to stand up and remember that we have power. Communities have power. It's billions of dollars, just numbers we can't even understand, being poured into our communities to make us think that we hate each other. And we have differences. And look, here's the thing. I'm never going to win the KKK vote. I don't want the KKK vote. They are not welcome in my home. But there are people who I'm going to disagree with, who are welcome in my home, who I want to have a conversation with. Yeah, and we might differ on the economy. We might differ on immigration. We might differ on abortion. Probably only about 15% though. But we don't know that until we actually have a conversation. Here's the thing. Yeah, maybe you can win a primary by spending $2 million just to flood ads and mailers to Democratic voters. That's not going to heal our country. That's going to get you a title. You're probably not going to flip the seat doing that. Maybe you say you do. What difference is it going to make? If that $2 million came from corporations, if you didn't go out and you didn't actually do your job and have conversations with people, it's not going to make a difference. We're not going to heal. We're not going to move forward. We're not going to fix the economy that way. We're not going to fix our communities that way.
Elizabeth, man, it sucks I'm not in your district. I'm telling you, y'all have some great candidates in District 1 because I'm in District 2. I think y'all already know what's going on right there. Y'all have heard about the story. We'll talk about that another time. But Elizabeth, I want to ask last question. I think I might have time for two. Why should voters choose you? You have a primary first, but you also, again, you're hoping to, to be the nominee. Why should folks vote for you?
Yeah. So my answer is going to be the same both ways. And a lot of people would say, okay, well, here's my answer for the primary and here's my answer for the general. No, it doesn't change. The mission doesn't change. What I'm doing doesn't change. People should vote for me because I'm going to fight for them. We have good ideas. We have good policies, but I know how to implement them. I know how to get it done. I know how to lead under opposition. I know how to actually build a coalition that lasts beyond just one election cycle. And I know I am the right candidate to flip the seat because I don't care if you've been a Democrat for 20 years. I don't care if you're an independent. I don't care if you're a Republican. I don't care. I want life to be better for you. And I know what it means to serve and to sacrifice, because without sacrifice, service is just doing your job. And that's okay. But right now, we have to actually have sacrifice. And for me, that's the sacrifice of running for office so that I can continue to fight for my entire district. I have a lot of stake in this.
Elizabeth, for those who are listening, but for those who are watching, I just placed your how ways folks can continue to contact or continue to just follow up or learn more about your campaign. If you don't mind sharing, how can folks follow up? And I know you have some stuff going on in the area.
So we are busy bees over here. Here's the thing. That's another reason why I should earn your vote is I can promise you no one will work harder for you than I will. I have not accomplished what I've accomplished at 29 years old by being lazy or by letting someone else do the work. No, I'm going to take it and I'm going to work hard for you. So that being said, we have events every single day. Like we are out, we are door knocking, we are phone banking. We are doing something every single day. And you can find that on our website. If you aren't in the district, or even if you are, again, we're grassroots. My team would kill me if I didn't say throw $5 our way. I mean, it to keep the campaign afloat, just so you know right now, and I don't have a large salaried staff. I actually don't have any full-time staff, but I do pay my interns, is about $17,000 a month. And we have to do that for 2.5 more months in this primary. And anything beyond that is being spent on our ads. So that $5 actually makes a difference when it comes to reaching voters and making sure that they are introduced to me, because as many doors as I can knock on, I can't knock on 800,000.
And Elizabeth, I just want to ask for our listeners who are listening, what's the name of that site? How can folks
it's elizabethforvirginia.com. If you join our mailing list there, so when you go to the main site, you're going to see first name, last name, phone number, email. You are not going to get a million emails, texts, anything asking for donations. You won't get more than one a week, but I will personally call you, because if you're taking the time to get involved in my race, I care about what's going on for you. And you should care about this race, whether you're in Virginia or not. There are 10 seats this year that are incredibly flippable without new maps. Virginia's first district is one of those. We can't wait until the general to get involved in that. We can't wait until August to know who the nominee is, because the reality is we have to start fighting now. We have to make sure that we can flip this seat now. And that's exactly what my campaign is doing. So if you're not in the district, I promise you, just like the 2nd district, these are 2 of the most important seats in the country to take back the House. And the policy that legislators write affect the whole country, not just their state. And then on social media, Elizabeth for Virginia, we're very active there.
Elizabeth, thank you so much for your time. Best of luck on your campaign. Don't go anywhere. I would love to chop it up with you just for a couple seconds after this show. But again, we thank you for coming on. And again, best of luck on your campaign.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gents, I hope you enjoyed yet another great combo here on the Arrington Gavin Show. Hey, stay safe, stay blessed, and stay informed. I will talk to you soon for another great combo. I'm out.
That's it for tonight on the Arrington Gavin Show. Thanks for tapping in and keeping the conversation alive. Don't forget, stay connected with us on all platforms. Follow at Arrington Gavin on Instagram, Blue Sky, and X, and subscribe to the official Substack for exclusive takes and deep dives you won't get anywhere else. We're here every weeknight, same time, same energy, same real talk. Until next time, stay bold, stay sharp, and stay true. That's what we do on the Arrington Gavin Show. Peace.